Welcome everyone. Today I am analyzing the Indian Express. This is 11th of August 2022. Here I will explain step by step news, which is what is the news, why is the news, and what is the future prospects of the news. Moving forward, we can see our first news is off the public glare, India held first round of talks with NATO, agreed to keep the dialogue going. So why is this news? This news is about a finding that there was a secret meeting between NATO and India in 2019 December. So as you know, NATO is a political and military alliance of 28 European countries and 2 countries in North America, which is USA and Canada. So what is the news? This news is about a secret meeting that held between NATO and India. This meeting was attended by Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Defense, and it is learned that the idea was to ensure that the dialogue was primarily political in character and to avoid making any commitment on military or other bilateral cooperation. So you can see this meeting was about a regional and global issue of mutual interest. This the newspaper Indian Express has learnt. Moving forward, you can see this is political news. Here comes the news which is important. This is Mexico's president proposes peace panel, Modi, Pope and UN chief. So why is this news? This news is about Mr. Andres Manuel, who is going to propose to UN for setting up a commission which comprises of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Pope Francis and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. What is the aim of this commission? The aim of this commission would be to stop war and seek a truce of at least 5 years to ensure world peace. Truce here represents of peace, a mutual cooperation between two parties to not fight, such as there is a fight, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, and there is maybe upcoming fight can occur between China and Taiwan. So if these two parties make a truce, then they will no longer fight. So at a press meet Monday, he said that he feels that the governments of 3 powers, that is Russia, China and US, will listen to it, will listen to the commission and accept an intermediation like the one he is proposing. So according to information on his official website, this commission aim will be to stop war everywhere and reach an agreement to seek truce for at least 5 years, so that the government of the whole world dedicate themselves to supporting their people, especially those who are suffering the most from the war and from its effect. So this is the news, and what are the future prospects of this news? I think he will set up a commission, and if this commission will success and the two parties like Russia and Ukraine seeks pressure to form a truce, then there will be peace. But there is less hope because Russia's actions are very aggressive and he is not likely to listen to this commission, because unlikely every country's PM or president met Russia when the war was going on like February, last February, since the war goes on, was going on February 24th, the war started, and after that so many people met him, but he was not going to change his policy, aggressive policy towards other countries, towards Ukraine. I don't think so, but let's see what happens in the future, if he agrees or not. Moving forward, there is more of political news. Then come the word page. So here's the news about Trump. As you know, FBI has raided his home. So this is international news but of no use. Here comes the news. China reaffirms military threat to annex Taiwan. Withdraws promise not to send troops to Taiwan if it takes control. See, we were already talking about China invading Taiwan maybe. But here China is affirming that if Taiwan takes control, he is promising to not send troops. China on Wednesday repeated threats against Taiwan while appearing to wind down war games near the self-governing islands it claims as its own territory. So this is about China and Taiwan. As you know, according to China's policy, China considers Taiwan as its part, and if any country meets alone Taiwan, then it feels a threat to its sovereignty. Recently, Nancy Pelosi met Taiwanese president, and there was a military drill, or you can call in China's language that there was a targeted military operation that was conducted by China. So coming forward, he is saying that he will not send troops if China is in control. So the message is lengthy, and he is saying that Beijing would work with the greatest sincerity and exert our utmost effort to achieve peaceful reunification. So you can see the word reunification. He is not calling for peace, he is calling for reunification. China is actively involved in the reunification of Taiwan with China. As you know, Taiwan is an independent democratic country, maybe, because its status is not very sure. So this is about Taiwan and China. So what are the future prospects? Future prospects are, if China wants to reunify Taiwan, it will, because as you know, as Russia is aggressive, China policies is also aggressive. So here what you will tend to see, the US has promised Taiwan to help militarily, not only with arms, with military like men of war. So you can see in the future a war between China and US, but this may be very rare, because US and China are two major big superpowers, and they would avoid to come front in front, because world will get devastated if both comes in face to face. So they would try to avoid with some mutual concerns, but what you will see in future, we can only witness in future. Moving forward, you can see the explained page. Here is the big headline, Bihar churn in opposition calculus. So as you know, there was a major issue in Bihar between the alliance of NDA government. So what here is explained, this is a political news, I will explain in very short. Mr. Nitish Kumar is trying to be the opposition face of Modi in 2024 election. There is a prime minister's post, so he is trying to be in opposite with Mr. Modi. And what is the dilemma? Congress is in dilemma, because Rahul Gandhi seems to believe that family needs to take a tactical retreat from the leadership of the party, and his return, as you know, as a Congress president will automatically pitch for him as a challenger to Modi, a situation that he wants to avoid, because he has already run an election against him in the previous election and lose the election. So if Nitish Kumar is trying to be the opposite, what are the possibilities? Possibilities only that if all anti-BJP parties do decide to put up one. Moving forward, next news is why government pushing for common charger for all personal devices. More of all, the whole news is just one answer. I will give it to you because first, because of user inconvenience. As you know, if you are using many devices and you are using different chargers for all devices, it's very confusing. And in fact, some phones, 2-3 phones in a home, they also need different kind of chargers. Some are thick, some are thin. So first is user inconvenience, and second is the e-waste, which is which the government and ministry is trying to reduce the electronic waste, because charger gets burned, or you can call they do not work properly after some time. So to achieve this, the ministry is aiming to reduce electronic waste. So what is the economy page saying? Economy page saying first headline is digital lending norms, direct credit to accounts sans third party. So RBI has issued guidelines to curb malpractices. What are the digital lending norms, or you can tell what is digital lending? As you know, if you want to take loan, you can go to bank, send bank will send you money, you have to pay collateral. Same is the digital lending platform, but it's not provided by bank, it is by some, maybe provided by banks in digital form, but most of the players in India are private players. You may have seen so many ads coming on when you use internet or apps such as YouTube or many other apps. You may have seen some apps which give you loan of like 50,000 instant credit, they call it this. So it has been involved in malpractices. You may be surprised to know that these apps are more fraud than real, because may have heard of some suicide cases that these apps were indulged. What they do is, I may tell you for your own information, what they do is they do give loans, but they after you install the app, they trace all your data, like all your contacts, all your WhatsApp messages, who your contacts are, who you talk to, and your bank account, credit card number, everything. So what they do is, if you don't pay the loan in time, so they do malpractices, they do send a fake messages, or messages like you are thief, this person is a thief, like a photo, to your contacts, and blackmail you to lend money, to give money, to pay back the money. So even one case was there that a person installed the app and he did not, he only just sign in, like login, sign in, and an instant credit of some 1000, like dash 1000 were given to his account, and the lender instantly called to pay back the loan. In fact, I think there was no loan provided and the lender was asking to pay back the loan. So this was a very fraud case, and so RBI has issued guidelines. So what is the news? I will explain. Aiming to curb rising malpractices in the digital lending ecosystem, RBI has issued guidelines for entities engaged in digital lending, with the norms stating that all digital loans must be disbursed and repaid through bank accounts of regulated entities only. without pass-through of lending service providers or other third parties. So RBI is basically saying that the lender and the borrower must be connected with bank account, not with any lending service provider or any other third party. So what is the concern? Concern primarily relate to unbridled engagement of third parties, mis-selling, breach of data privacy, which I told you already that they do breach data privacy, unfair business conduct, which I also told you example that a lender was asking for the money because the person just installed the app. And then next, charging of exorbitant interest rate and unethical recovery practice, which I also said before that there is an unethical recovery practice. They send the photo of your with taglines that this person is a thief or in Hindi. So to reduce these malpractices, RBI has set guidelines. What we will see in futures, if these apps and digital lending platforms do follow these guidelines, there will be a relief to public because they suffered so much. Many people have died of suicide and all because of blackmailing. This will help in the future to all the public. Then there is news about US and Galaxy phones. This is also news. Private 5G Department of Telecommunications invite course for study. So Department of Telecommunication is inviting stakeholders to participate in a study for direct assignment of spectrum for setting up captive non-public networks, also known as private 5G networks. So as you know, 5G is very in buzz in our country, and to study these assignments, to study what is the demand, what is the supply, what are the factors that can help 5G grow, and what are the constraints in the growing of 5G. You can see the department has announced to invite the stakeholders to participate in this study. As you know, Department of Telecommunications Minister, he made the first 5G call from IIT, I think IIT Madras maybe. He called from there, and future prospects are, 5G is coming very fast in the country. It will come this year maybe, or maybe next year. So a person can use 5G and the data speed will be much higher, as it is already confirmed that data will be much higher. So next is the sport news. I will say this newspaper was very short, and it just consisted of news regarding last news regarding digital lending, then the news regarding political news, there was an explained page, then about charger, and then Mexico's president UN committee. More of a political news.